Do you want to be good at Kha'Zix? Then you're at the right place. Because in the next few minutes I'll be explaining you his skills, combos and some secret tips and tricks as well. So fasten your seatbelts and let's jump into the world of Wild Rift. Let's start off with his skills and passive. His passive is Unseen Threat. What it means is whenever Kha'Zix isn't within the sight of an enemy, his next basic attack would deal additional magic damage and slow them. The passive gets refreshed whenever enemy loses the sight of Kha'Zix. So a quick tip for using your passive multiple times is that, you should go in a nearby bush. This will reset your passive and you can attack the enemy once again. How do you identify if your passive is active or not? All you have to do is look at the hands of Kha'Zix. If his hands are glowing, then it means the passive is active. If they aren't, then it means the bush is warded and the enemy has you in their sights. This is a great tip to know if a bush is warded or not. With this passive, you can even check bushes when ganking other lanes. Let's move on to his first skill. His first skill is Taste Their Fear. In this skill, Kha'Zix slashes his claws, dealing physical damage. Kha'Zix deals 110% extra damage to enemies who are isolated. You can see if the enemy is isolated or not by watching the purple circle around the enemy. For the enemy to be isolated, they shouldn't have any teammates or minions around them. As you can see, when the enemy minions arrived, the circle disappeared. And now I literally deal no damage. So it's always best to take fights with isolated enemies. Due to this, Kha'Zix is not good when enemies are grouped. But on the other hand, Kha'Zix is very strong in 1v1s. Now because of his ultimate's passive, Kha'Zix can evolve his abilities. When you evolve his first skill, he gains bonus range and the cooldown of this skill is reduced by 45% against isolated enemies. This greatly helps to deal more damage in less time. Let's move on to his second skill. His second skill is Void Spike. Kha'Zix fires a spike, dealing damage and healing himself if he is within range. This skill is a very great to keep Kha'Zix healthy in the early game. And it also helps Kha'Zix to have faster jungle clears. When you evolve this ability, he fires 3 spikes instead of 1. And those spikes slow down the enemies by 60% for 2 seconds. Because Kha'Zix is weak at teamfights, this ability can greatly help you to peel for your team. Also, you can reveal enemies hiding in the bushes. This is very helpful when you have no vision and you want to face check a bush. Let's move on to his third skill. His third skill is Leap. Kha'Zix jumps to an area, dealing damage to enemies. This ability is great to engage or disengage in teamfights. When you evolve this ability, the range of the leap is increased. But the best part of this evolve is that the cooldown of this skill is reset when you get a kill or an assist. You can easily get into enemy backline, kill your target and come back out safely. Or you can jump to other targets and kill them as well. Also, with the evolved leap, you can also perform double jump. You can perform double jump by finishing off a low HP enemy with your S3 plus S1 and then buffer your jump in the direction you want to go. Watch this example to understand what I meant here. This combo is very helpful to get in and out of team fights. Let's move on to his ultimate. His ultimate is Void Assault. In this, Kha'Zix turns invisible and gains movement speed. Kha'Zix has 2 charges of his ultimate, so he can activate it twice within few seconds. His ultimate is a great gap closer and also great to evade enemies. Quick tip, since he goes invisible in his ultimate, he can activate his passive twice in that period. When you evolve his ultimate, he gets 3 charges of ultimate and his invisibility duration gets longer. Also, with his ultimate, you can fool your enemies. Let me show you some cool tricks. The first one is ulting in opposite direction. So suppose the enemy is following you from here. What you should do is use your ultimate and go in the opposite direction. This will create a huge gap between you and your enemies since they'll be going opposite of you. You'll fool them most of the times. Now the second trick would be faking your direction with ultimate. In this one, what you should do is travel in a direction, turn yourself towards enemy, use your ultimate and then turn back again and run away. Here, the enemy will think that you turned yourself and ulted to attack them. And they'll stop to try and attack you. Whereas, you'll be long gone. 200 IQ, isn't it? The third trick would be ulting in a bush. Now this trick is a bit hard to pull off, but absolutely worth it if you do it properly. So suppose the enemy is coming from here and you have a bush ahead. What you need to do is get in the bush and ult as soon as enemy enters the bush. so the enemy won't see you and will be confused about where you are. But you've got to get the timing right or... Cool tricks, aren't they? I'm pretty sure there'd hardly be anyone who would tell you these tricks. So hit that subscribe button if you like these tricks. And hang on, more tips and tricks are incoming. Moving on to the build and runes. This is the build I'd recommend to go with most of the times. It's really good against swishies. And this is the build I'd recommend if enemy has lot of tanks. Let's get to his combos now. The first combo here is a flash combo. Combo 1, S2 plus flash. With this combo you can finish off someone or you can slow them if you have evolved S2. Here, you have to make sure to use S2 first and then flash. This way enemy won't have a chance to react. If you flash first and then S2, the enemy will have the time to react and can potentially dodge it. Second combo is S3 plus S1 plus auto attack. This combo is to finish off enemies with low HP. You can easily burst them down with this combo. The third combo is for 1v1s, which is Alt plus auto attack plus S2 plus S1 plus auto attack. You can easily kill the targets in a 1v1 with this combo. Potentially even tanks if you're fed enough. Now let me tell you a trick with the S3 plus S1 combo. But for this you'll need an evolved S3 and S1. Suppose you're in a team fight and one of the enemies is low. So instead of jumping into the enemies, you can jump over them and kill the target. For this, you should use your S3 and then S1 instantly mid-air. The S1 will hit the enemy mid-air and kill the target. Just like this. Now let's see the jungle pathing of Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is a mana-hungry champion. So it's always best to start with the blue buff. Kha'Zix is one of the few champions who can do a full jungle clear. So go like this: blue, gromp, wolves, red, raptors, scuttle. You'll be level 5 after this. Quick tip, upgrade your S1 at level 3 instead of unlocking your S3. This will help you in clearing the jungle faster. Well, that's all for the video, guys. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you think my guide was informative and helped you. It will mean a lot to me. Hope to see you in the next one.